right, welcome back to the channel. I am joined today by the third place finisher and the Edison world champion and one of the biggest and best deck builders in the entire format, Jason Kottas, aka Dimitri, if you know him on Discord. This guy is absolutely insane, and I wanted to have this conversation with him. I figured why not record it, because he just topped with this deck that you see in front of you. This is Hero Frogs, but with a very, very different take on it. And so there's so much to say. But before we get into that, how are you doing, Jason?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. One thing I definitely want to mention is I've been watching the different Edison YouTubers for a while, and it's always struck me that there's been a big gap in like frog gameplay, and I'm so glad to have like an actual frog expert YouTuber. It's very helpful to have you around. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So one of the things is you played one Treeborn Frog. It was the very first thing that like blew me away after our match and we talked about everything, because that is, for the most part, I don't know if anyone has ever done that. If like, not even Ronick, who's done everything that you can do. I don't think he's done one Treeborn Frog. So can you explain that? Because I'm sure people looking at this are like, what is going on?
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen anyone else do one. I've now topped with 0 Treeborn. I've topped with 1 Treeborn. I have not topped with 2 Treeborn. I think that's very funny.
That's
Um,
crazy.
Yeah, so one Treeborn comes from practicing the deck without Treeborn access and realizing that you're still mostly fine, especially, they soul release you, they're at a -1 already, and that game one, that doesn't really happen. And so I'm like, okay, I need cuts somewhere because the deck is so tight. Why don't I just cut a Treeborn Frog and then just see, like, do I actually end up needing the second? And in, I think, about 6 months now that I've been doing this, I've lost 2 games while having that Treeborn Frog banished. One was because I was against zombies. They used Book of Life.
Uh,
Another was because I left it out to like body block when I should not have, and it got
mhm.
Caius. That's like it. 2 games in 6 months.
Also, I'll say this. Zombies has definitely fallen off in the format. It's not a deck that is being played as much as it used to be in Edison. I think a lot of people have moved on to like Value and Black Wings and Frogs will be the big three in Edison at this point, in my opinion. And just looking at
Yes.
like decks that have topped in 2024, Zombies is at the bottom of the what people would have considered a good deck. It's at the bottom of the list in terms of representation and top cuts. And I would even say just in tournaments in general, like I haven't played against a zombie player in a minute, and if I have, it's probably been like once all year, and I've played in a lot of tournaments this year. So that's one deck that you don't really run into often anymore, is Zombies. And then the other one was just you bringing it back when you shouldn't have, you said. And I like you saying that because my deck plays Future Fusion, and everyone asked me like, oh, but what about your Treeborn Frog? Wouldn't it get stuck in the graveyard because you have a continuous spell on the field? And what about when the guy gets like deprisoned or whatever and you're stuck with a Future Fusion because it got banished instead of destroy it? And my answer is always the same. It's like, well, one, if my hand can't handle Future Fusion going wrong, I actually just won't activate it. That's the first thing. You're not forced to play cards. Like you're just not. Which one of
Yep.
the brilliant things about Yu-Gi-Oh, compared to every other card game, is that in Yu-Gi-Oh you could do everything or nothing. So that's the first point about the Future Fusion. The second point is that with Future Fusion, when I summon my Absolute Zero or Elemental Hero Gaia off of Future Fusion, I just won't attack into a deprison. Like, you do not have to attack.
Yep.
You do not have to go into, like, I can go into Unifrog, I can go into any other thing, I can literally use it as a defense. I'll put Gaia in defense mode and just leave it there as a 2600 body, which is very relevant against Value because they typically go up to 2500 attack max, and Silverwind is like rare. So for them, it's not the easiest thing to get through a 2600 body. And so him being in defense mode is totally fine. The other thing is that if I did Gaia specifically, that means that I sent Dandelion, which means that I had Substitute, because I wouldn't do that otherwise. I would just go for Absolute Zero. So if I sent
Yeah, you already
Dandelion,
got your plus.
right, if I did Dandelion, you should be scared because that just 100% means my hand has Substitute in it, which means I'm about to go crazy on the field with Substitute, double Dupe Frog, which is a plus. And on the following turn, I can turn the Substitute into a Unifrog depending on what you do. And that one turn where I miss Treeborn Frog is made up by the next turn where I get a free Elemental Hero Fusion monster. So there's a lot I can say about that. We're not 100% here to talk about that, but I just want to say, like,
Yeah.
when people look at weird deck choices like ours, like Future Fusion in mine, or this one Treeborn of yours, I promise you that the people who put these decks together thought a lot about these, and there's good reasons for them. You might not know what they are, but that's why we're here today to talk about this type of thing. So I said I like the idea of one Treeborn because I can't think of the last time my Treeborn in game one has mattered if I had two or one. Like, if I'm being honest, now I might not have
Exactly.
recalled, but yeah, if I'm being honest, like one Treeborn hasn't been the bane of like any of my games, like, or I should say, having the second Treeborn hasn't been the reason why I won a game many times. Like I can't
So
really think of many.
I will say the most likely case of not noticing when it matters is if you open swap and Treeborn, you really want to go normal swap send Treeborn, and now you can't do that.
Hmm.
So that's like the one downside that I've had of only running one Treeborn, but it's never been game determinative for me.
Yeah.
Another thing that I want to mention there, um, is that the whole like you don't have to do it kind of thing came up, I think, against Glad Beasts this tournament, where I summoned Swap Frog, and before sending Treeborn, I sent a Swap Frog. Just because like I don't have to send Treeborn to grave yet. I don't need it yet. I don't want them banishing it off Ready Ari. So it's definitely like not doing those automatic things, not doing what people assume. I'm very big on that. Yeah.
Yeah, so to speak about this also, you have tops with all different kinds of decks. You've topped with Value Turbo, you topped with Black Wings, and now Hero Frogs. With Value Turbo, you were one of the first people, and honestly, the first person I saw, who played Icarus Attack in Value Turbo, and I think that that was an amazing choice. But I think the scariest thing you've done is you got like third place at a tournament playing Black Wings with 0 Icarus Attacks, and you played Dark Illusion instead. That was the first tournament that I remember seeing your name. Like when I came in the Edison format, and when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, this is such a like wild thing. Who is this guy? What's going on? Is this just like some ridiculous person who doesn't really know what he should be doing? And I kind of just discredited the entire idea of a Blackwing deck with 0 copies of Icarus Attack. And you're also known for things like no Solemn Judgment when you won Edison Worlds last year, RBET Rulers, I believe it was. You also are known for playing no Solemn Judgment in your Value Turbo deck and playing instead like Icarus Attack and stuff like that. So you have always had these really cool offbeat ideas, and your deck building philosophy is very different from literally everyone else in the format, to the point where I actually credit you as being the best deck builder in Edison format, like right now, easily.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I talk about this to OG, who's one of my good friends. He won RBET this year with Value and a True Hero. Everyone knows a True Hero, Stango. Like I talk about your deck list a lot because I think that I just haven't seen anybody else do stuff like the way you think. Reminds me of Patrick Hoban. You're like the Edison version of him. Like he was the last person I remember who, like, obviously I was really close with Pat. We were both on Team ARG back in the day, and he would have these ridiculous ideas and he would take them to tournaments and he would do well with them, if not literally win them. And I do think at YCS Indianapolis, you would have won the tournament if you beat me. I think that both of our decks just beat Value.
Yeah.
Like,
Oscar's
I think
build also was not made to face frogs.
it was not.
For sure.
No
Yeah.
Gores, no Torrential, no Caius. That is a death sentence
No
against.
Brain Con.
Yeah, death sentence. Like literally, I mean, Oscar's an amazing player and also an amazing deck builder because he won last year with Hero Frogs and almost won this year with Value, and the builds are very different. Like the way he played the Hero Frogs with 3 upstarts last year, and the way he played Value this year without Caius, Torrential, Brain Control, Gores. He's very, very good at what he does. Clearly, he doesn't really need anyone else to say it. He just is a really good player. But when we played in the finals, I did win 2-0, and like I didn't notice that his deck was different. I had no idea leading up to that match that it was different, and until someone told me after, like, oh, his deck was like not just a regular Value Turbo deck that everyone is used to seeing. It was very like teched out and stuff like that. I had no idea, but when I played the match, I was looking for certain cards that never came up. And granted, sometimes the absence of those cards is better than the actual card. I really do believe that. For example, Gores, like once you see Gores milled in a graveyard by Value, now I'm just attacking you like crazy, right?
Icarus is a big one for that too. Yeah.
Yep. And
the
your
threat
logic
of Icarus when you don't show it to them is always higher
Yeah.
before you get any in the grave.
Yeah. So why don't we jump back real quick? So you topped with Black Wings with 0 copies of Icarus Attack, and I just want people to hear your explanation on why you did that.
I can just go through my tops real quick. My first one was the first hybrid Blackwing list to top. It was a very bad build, 0 Bora, but it was definitely me looking at, okay, what are the problems here? Not enough monsters that don't do quite enough, Value's dead in hand kind of thing. How do I fix those? And throughout the time that I've been building, I keep looking for what do people assume and what can I do that people aren't thinking about doing or believing is possible. And so things like one Treeborn, nobody's looking at that, right? Things like not running Solemn, everyone's like, you have to run Solemn. I draw the card and I'm like, I don't enjoy this in my hand, so I take it out. The 0 Icarus build came as a result of a teammate wanting to test against Blackwings. So I put together a build real quick and just completely forgot Icarus. And playing it, I was like, wow, this build feels better than any other Blackwing list I've played. This is awesome. And then I realized, oh yeah, this is why there's so much room. There's 0 Icarus here. And it really makes sense to me because there's a lot of problems with Icarus that people don't talk about and they just assume it's good, right? The
Yep.
card simplifies the game state, and Blackwings wants more cards because it can turn into a burn deck. It also is played around a ton. And so if your opponent just goes, bring back Treeborn, tribute summon Caius, you're like, well, I'm not Icarusing very well right now. You know, it's going to be minus no matter what. I'm not happy to have this card. Getting multiples of it can get cloggy. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it slows down damage when you're tributing your monster. And Blackwings often runs out of monsters and then just has to sit there a couple turns. And so all of these things made me be like, okay, what can I replace this with that will actually improve the build? And Dark Illusion's a tech that people hadn't really been using, and the mirror, since I was on hybrid, tends to be a lot worse, and it really deals with those massive Sirocco pumps well, better than anything else.
Oh, that's a good point,
So yeah,
actually.
things like that I've been really working on, you know, looking at those different techs, because if you follow other people's build ideas and build philosophies, you'll never build better than them.
That's very true. Coming from me, I am a notorious net decker. Like in the past, when I was a kid, I used to go on metagame.com and just net deck people. That's what I did. I would go to Adam Corn, I would go to like Shane Scurry, and I would net deck. And then eventually what I would do is I would take their deck and I would start to make changes based on my personal preferences and stuff like that. As I got older, I've learned how to deck build on my own and use probability to come up with a lot of my decision making. So like when I first innovated the Hero Frog deck the way the modern list that everyone plays now, when I first did that, my main goal was like, okay, I want 80% Treeborn access, which means that I see it 4 out of 5 games. I see Treeborn in my opening hand, and I only don't see it 1 out of 5, which is really, really extreme. Like that's extreme consistency in any format, 80%. And then the other thing was I wanted the 3 times Stratos. Like I wanted to play 3 copies of Stratos, which is, it gives you 40% chance to open that card. So I did that to the deck, and I have this 80% in the opening, and I have this 40% in the opening to see either like Treeborn or their Stratos, which is super consistent in this format. And also some of the best opening plays is just like Treeborn getting sent to the graveyard some kind of way, or Stratos being summoned. 2 of the best openings in the entire Edison format. So I was like, once you have a deck that's that consistent, you can start to add power to it from there, because every turn after that Treeborn is set up, and every turn after that Stratos is set up, your deck is just like rolling now. So my goal from a deck building philosophy was just like establish those 2 things early, and then the rest of the cards can just be bombs. Your deck has a lot more bombs than I played. Like you played Light and Darkness Dragon, which I only ever saw this in a War League match, and I believe it was like SoFlo or somebody playing it, where they were playing Hero Frogs with LADD. But before that, I hadn't seen anyone else doing it. And this build, I love that, like, you know, you're playing Econ, which a lot of people cut. I don't agree with cutting this card. This card's insane. Do you think that Econ's also like just not cut up?
It really depends on the build. I think it's the best card game 1,
Yep.
especially for things like this. You know, in non-Miracle Fusion decks, it can basically be your Miracle Fusion by stealing their monsters. But yeah, I think I really like building with make your main deck as greedy as possible for game 1.
Yep.
And then put in the side what you're going to change out those cards that are weaker post side to. So the Econ's, the one Treeborn, all are like with that plan in mind.
I'm literally smiling right now because you said make your main deck as greedy as possible for game 1, and my deck is literally built to be greedy game 1 with Future Fusion and Dandelion. I only use those cards when I go first. Well, what I should say is that when I am going first, right, those are really strong cards to have. The Future Fusion or the Dandy with 1-for-1 stuff like that, or even a Dandy with a discard trap is really strong, because I can just set a discard trap, pass my turn, your opponent will make a play, and in phase, I'll use discard trap, and then draw for turn, summon subs 2, and go off. And then with Future Fusion, it's obvious. But then after game 1, if I'm going second in game 2, depending on the matchup, I'll take those out. And then for game 3, if I go first again, and Frogs is really good at winning game 1. I won 8 out of 11 game 1s at Indianapolis, and at YCS Richmond, I won every single game 1 I played the entire tournament. All 8 rounds of it, all 7 rounds of Swiss and Richmond, and top 8 against James Ark. I also won game 1. So I won game 1 every single round of that tournament. And so Frogs is, if you're good, it's literally like the strongest game 1 deck. I don't think anything else could be compared to it, except maybe, and this is like a big maybe, is like Dragon Turbo, just because that deck is, you just don't know how it's going to perform game 1. But it's the most unfair if it performs correctly. So, but I think if we're talking about dueling decks, like Frogs is a very dueling deck. Duels usually last very long with Frogs, or like long enough that you notice that there's been plays. Frogs is the best at game one. And I think that the more ignorant cards you have, like Econs and Miracle Fusions, like the Ryzas, LADD, like all of this stuff just makes it where your matchups game one are just really free. So then game three, we only have to really win one of the next two sideboard games where our deck is not as strong potentially. But I love just putting in those greedy cards again, going first, like, side out Dusty going second, but then put that back in going first, side out Future Fusion Dandy going second, but then put it back in going first. That way, like, now I can open 1-for-1 Junk Synchron and a level 2 or lower monster, or I can open 1-for-1 Dandy, or I can open up Future Fusion Substitute, or I can open up Infernal Prodigy Substitute. I have like all of these kind of like, I consider them to be auto win. Like they're very strong openings to the point where
very advantageous for sure.
Yeah, like you're plus on turn one and your setup, your deck is like Infernal Prodigy Substitute is very simple. You're even on cards, like you still have 6 cards at the end of it, but your entire deck for the rest of the game now, all your engines, Miracle Fusion's live, your Monarchs are obviously online because Treeborn's in the grave. You have Substitute, usually a sub block on the field, so you could do Unifrog on the following turn. If you're playing against a deck like GB's and you know it beforehand, you could end on Dupe Block. So that opening is like really strong, and every opening I said after that is stronger. Like the Junk Synchron opening, the Future Fusion opening, the 1-for-1 Dandy opening, they're all just like really strong openings. So I focus so much on turn one in this format because I think that turn one is like the most important turn of the duel. And if my deck in solo mode is not drawing a certain way in the opening, I will go back to the deck constructor and I will look at it and be like, what is making this deck not draw the way I want it to draw? And I will change cards. And that's literally my playtesting.
The ratios, I was doing a lot of that playtesting style too, and the ratios for this build are very precise for that kind of thing. 5 discard traps, you want to see 1 but not 2, right? 5 kinds of ways to get to Mally, to see 1 not 2. 2 Econ triple miracle, see 1 but or no, sorry. The 5 ofs you want to see 1 or 2 but not 3. 2 ofs to see 1 copy of it but not 2 of it. 7 monarchs total, you're fine seeing 2 or 3 of it kind of thing, but you definitely want to see at least 1 of it. It's very teched out to, maximize seeing Treeborn, 2 LADD, 3 Substitute are your ways to abuse extra tribute fodder. And so I could see adding that Dandy Future Fusion package here too. It's just, space is so hard, man.
It is. You've already cut a Treeborn Frog, which some people might see as a cardinal sin. Like,
I hope so. That is the goal.
Yes. So one of my favorite quotes from you, it was in Edison Format's Discord server, and it was in the Value channel. This is when all of the hot topics about people not playing Solemn Judgment, because you are basically the beginning of that becoming a conversation piece. And a lot of people are like, oh my God, I don't know how you don't play Solemn. If you're better than the person, I feel like Solemn is the best card. Like, I just flip this card and I win. And you said something along the lines of, I'm going to try to paraphrase this, but it was something along the lines of question everything, even value. And like, that it made me laugh so hard because we were talking about Value Turbo and you were just like, question everything, even Value. And I was like, this guy is great.
I have. Maybe you're supposed to play 2 Value. Maybe you're supposed to play 1. Maybe Value shouldn't even be in Value Turbo, I have tested these different things and you come to the answer that it has to be 3, but maybe it's wrong.
I love it. I absolutely, that is so unhinged to me, but I absolutely love that. Yeah, question, even Value is not above reproach. Like, there's a chance that Value is wrong, or at least the fact that people play, 3 copies of it or whatever. So to pick back up, I was going to ask you about Solemn Judgment. Do you just not like Solemn Judgment as a card in any deck, or was it specifically in like Value or whatever?
Yeah, my philosophy with Solemn Judgment is trading 4K life points for a +1 is a bad trade in Edison almost always. And the number of games that people have to do that and then down the line, like 6 turns later, lose because they have so few life points because of Solemn is so consistent that in the subset of replays that people have sent me, trying to prove to me that Solemn Judgment is good, Solemn Judgment still has a losing record in those replays. And I think people run it because the one time that they manage to flip it to stop the last opponent back row and get through lethal guaranteed makes them feel good.
Yes.
Whereas in reality, any other card you could have had in that spot that would have traded 1-for-1 with an opponent's card would have still put you in a winning position. And so it really doesn't change things in like 95% of those situations, except making you feel comfortable.
No, I agree. I think comfort plays a lot into why people do things, including myself. So one of the things about my Hero Frog deck is that I play Battle Fader, right? And a lot of people ask me, oh, how come you don't play Threatening Roar? Because in theory, Threatening Roar is better in a meta that has Dragon Turbo in it and like Christia Sworn and stuff like that. But I argue against Threatening Roar all the time because I think that what people don't know or seem to care about when it comes to Battle Fader is, one, it's a body. It's an actual monster, which means it gets converted actually, like it's an actual monster. So it gets converted into other card advantage by econ, by substitute, and things like that. So that's one thing. And if you don't draw Treeborn access, Battle Fader is actually just nice to have over Threatening Roar. Like literally look at your hand and see, oh, well, if I don't have Treeborn access, you most likely will have tribute monsters in your hand. Because what do you have if you don't have Treeborn access? You have to have something. So you probably have the payoff for Treeborn Frog without the Treeborn Frog. Battle Fader is good in those situations. The other thing is that, and I talk about this all the time, but I'm going to say it again, people don't see the Battle Fader. Like they don't know it's there. So people will look at life points. I'll literally look at my opponent and they will, well, in person, I'll look at my opponent, go, all right, so you're at 4,700, and they'll look at their hand and say, sorry, I'm just going to think for a second. And then they'll go for a game because I don't have any back row. And they're only doing that because there's literally no back row. Like they literally think, oh, this is just, he's just dead. I have brain control. I have the Caius. I have the Dark Armed, and he's dead. And they'll go for game, and I'm just like, Battle Fader you. And like even it's even better when Gores is in the grave or whatever. It's like, oh, they really think they have me, and then I just Battle Fader them, and there's like this, the air gets sucked out of the room feeling when they realize, fuck. And now I know I'm going to lose because he has a hand, like I have a decent sized hand. And yeah, you're about to get Miracle Fusion, you're about to get Econ, you're about to get Brain Control, you're about to get Caius, your field's about to get cleaned up because Frogs is the best crackback deck in the format. So, and in Miracle Fusion,
one is all you need to have the threat there. And I think that's a big part to it too, is once they do see it, then they have to be considering it for the rest of the tournament.
Yep. And I love that. I love the philosophy of just, once people see the Starlight Road in your deck, they always will think, oh, if he ever sets 2, I have to think, can my hand handle a Stardust Dragon right now? Like there's a lot of that type of thing. So I love interesting deck choices that when the community is all going left, I like to go right and vice versa. And you fucking go in a completely different direction altogether. You don't even go left or right. You just you start zigzagging. Yeah.
Yeah.
you start running in a zigzag.
In this list, another example of that is the Hino Kagetsuchi, because that is a card that makes Frogs have to play so differently once they see it. And if they don't see it or know about it, it can just destroy them.
Yes.
Same thing with Dragon Turbo or Christia Sworn or any of those other decks that love to just hold everything in hand.
Yeah, this is a scary card in the mirror match. So we played in the top 4 of Indianapolis. You won game 1, and in game 2, I opened up one of those non-game hands. I opened up Dust Shoot, Stratos, and just had the gas. And so I saw your hand, and I hadn't seen you during the whole tournament. I didn't see you play a single round before top 4, so I had no idea what was in your deck at all. When I trapped Dust Shoot at you, I saw that you played Hino Kagetsuchi, and it freaked me out a little bit. Like I
saw your face. It was great to see that.
Yeah, like that was a visceral reaction. Like I had a real physical reaction to the Hino Kagetsuchi because there was like this fear of, oh God, please tell me this hand doesn't do it. And if it does, like I'm obviously putting this back. So I was hoping that I wouldn't get caught by that. But even after I won game 2, the entire game 3, I was frantic because I didn't have Trap Dust Shoot game 3, and all I kept thinking about was, please don't Hino me, bro. Like please don't do that.
It makes you set things like your Raigeki breaks earlier, being like, yo, I have to set this now in case he has Hino, but then I can get those out of the way and clear all of your answers to vanities to be able to get that down much cleaner.
Yeah.
So the threat of it really helps, even like those hands that don't, it sets things up so much better. The other thing I'll say about it,
go ahead.
My teammate Trevor that I was planning the side deck with, he was the one that suggested it. And he also top 8'd this on Hero Frogs. But in the match right before top 8, the last round of Swiss, we faced, and I managed to summon the Hino Kagetsuchi on him and hit him for 6 cards out of hand, including Brain Con.
That's so messed up. So he suggested this idea, and then you Hino'd him.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But luckily, he still made it in the top 8, which is awesome. Did you guys play? What was the difference in your cards? Do you remember, or do you know? Like your deck?
He was playing much more of a list, like the list that topped Nats was my other teammate. And so he was on like not on the LADDs and on Third Ryza, on a couple more heroes to like Alias and Malicious Edge, stuff like that. And then the side deck was almost completely the same. Oh, he was on 2 Treeborn main as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're the first. Like again, I think you're the first one Treeborn guy ever. I don't know if
Yeah.
I've seen any. I've seen Ronnet go down on swap frogs. I've seen him go down on pretty much everything else. I've never seen the one Treeborn frog. But again, people ask me my opinion on it. They're like, "Oh, Frazier, do you want to like change your deck list to be more like Dimitri's or anything like that?" And I'm like, "Bro, I didn't test the one Treeborn, so I don't have a strong opinion on changing my deck to fit his deck building philosophy. Like he built his deck in a certain way, and I can't apply that necessarily to myself already. Like it's, you know, it's obviously it's been a couple days since the tournament. I will test it though. Like I do plan to actually test the one Treeborn thing and see if I notice it. It does make me a little fearful. The one thing I will say about it is, so you said that you don't bring it back when you don't need to use it, so you don't put it in harm's way. That really means to me that you're not trying to get it Kaiused, and I get that. I defend myself a lot with Treeborn Frog in game one, you know, just naturally. Like I naturally will just bring back Treeborn Frog, and I don't necessarily have anything to do with it, but my opponent just has an Armageddon Knight on the field, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm not taking 14, so we're just going to bring the Treeborn Frog back, and just, my hand's kind of weird, I'm just going to pass or whatever, and, you know, they might draw a Kaius or have a Kaius and a Kaius, and I'm like, this is no big deal, I have a second Treeborn Frog. But you're basically saying in situations like that, you just won't do that. Now, at the same time... So it depends. Right, go ahead.
It's definitely a card where it requires more precise and skillful gameplay.
Yep.
There's times where I'll look at my hand and be like, I don't need Treeborn to utilize all of the cards in my hand in a way that seems like I'll be way ahead. And so I'll be like, okay, I'll bring it back to body block because I care more about the lethal. I care more about maybe forcing out the Kaius or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the times, yeah, you're like, okay, instead of that, I am just going to have to take the 14 here, or, you know, set Mirror Force and be ready or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, your deck does have more conversion for the Treeborn Frog though. So the amount of times that I imagine your list leaves a Treeborn Frog on the field with no conversion, I would say is really small.
I think it's more than you would expect, because a lot of the time they don't have set up for Kaius, or you're against a deck that isn't going to Kaius you, and then you're fine to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I can see that. You know, we do discount the fact that there are a lot of decks in the format that just don't actually punish one Treeborn Frog game one, like flat out, you know? Like whereas Zombies is the ultimate for that, there are a lot of decks that just will never ever punish you for playing one. And I can think like, you know, Light's Warren is one of our Christius Warren decks like that, assuming you don't get a kickback to the deck by Aaron. But for the most part, you don't get punished for having the one in like a matchup like that, for example. Or
the ultimate punish is Glads when you don't know about it, and you go swap, send Treeborn, bounce swap, they hit in, go to Ready Ari, and you're like, well, that was fun. But luckily that hasn't happened, except for when they had, I think it was Chariot, Mirror Force, Starlight Road, Solemn as their back row alongside it. And so it's like, all right, that wasn't changing anything.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think you were winning that game anyway.
No, exactly.
Speaking of GBs, you beat GBs in the top 4 playoff to win a giant card. You also won a giant size Judgment Dragon. And I was going to ask you, I didn't get to see your match because I was obviously playing Oscar right next to you, but you won. And a lot of people think of Frogs versus GBs as just GB's favorite. I actually think that Hero Frogs has a good matchup against GBs, and I don't think people realize that there's a difference between Frog decks from the past that used to just play turn 1 Swap Frog as their best opening, and then they just bounce it back and pass, and Hero Frogs, which has a lot of weird openings that are really bad for GBs, one of them being literally Summon Stratos turn 1 is like really hard for GBs to deal with, but the other one is you play Discard Traps. Like we all play Discard Traps now, and those are really good against GBs, especially Test Tiger builds, because they punish Test Tiger the most. Like Wing Blast used to be literally an anti-GB card back in 2008 when people played Teledad. GBs was so back in Teledad format, GBs was like, people still tried to play it even though there was no reason that you should be playing that, but they would try. And one of the things that would happen, because Teledad mained multiple copies of Wing Blast, they would go like, you know, summon my guy, Test Tiger, try to get Secutor out, and you're just like Wing Blast your guy, and a Test Tiger just resolves without effect. So you just lose. Like you actually just lose the game on the spot to a discard trap. I never forgot that because I lived through it. So when I look at Hero Frog decks and I see that most of them play at least 3 Regeki breaks, some of them play more. Like Oscar won last year with 3 Regeki breaks and a Wing Blast. You got there right here with 2 Wing Blasts and 3 Regeki breaks. And I've been playing just 3 Regeki breaks for a while, and also play Battle Fader, which is randomly good against them too. But my point is that like, it's not as easy for GBs to just do their game plan against Hero Frog specifically, because Chariot is not enough to just win you the game. I can extend with Miracle Fusion, and that's like it's like a blowout card when you do that. Like you go Tribute for Monarch and I go Chariot, and you're like, okay, Miracle Fusion you now, and they're like, fuck, like nothing stops that. Like there's no out to that card. So what are your thoughts on the GB matchup, and also how did you win top 4 that top 4 playoff thing?
A couple of thoughts. One is that a big part about GBs seeming bad is people assume they have everything in their back row, and if you make it you make them have specific cards or you set them onto specific ranges that you can win and lose to, then the matchup gets a lot better. I think that the LADDs in here are very helpful for that matchup. Obviously, the heavy discard traps and everything, the econs. This game one build, except for the one Treeborn, is very teched out to beat GLADs. I think that siding Alias was solely for GB. It helped a ton. But the biggest part was just that he drew 4 monsters or 4+ monsters to start out both games, and he didn't do that at all the rest of the tournament. So I think a big part of it was that made it very free for me.
Yeah.
Whereas it should have at least been something where it was an uphill battle to figure out what to do, even if it is like a 50-50 matchup in the end.
So GB's has this problem that everyone knows about where their monster heavy hands are really bad. I did watch the video on his build. Shout out to that guy too for getting that far with GB's. I mean, technically he almost won the tournament. Yeah. He got very close. There was only 3 people in his way of winning the entire tournament with Glad Beast of all things. But shout out to him for doing that. But I did look at his video. So every deck in top 4 of that tournament had just the most teched out version of their deck. Like your build right now, your 3rd place build, this build is super teched out. The Glad Beast player's deck, he plays Spirit Reaper, Sangan, Gores, Triple Dust Tornado, just a bunch of tech choices. Also Rescue Cat, Double Samnite, just like a lot of things that I'm not used to seeing in Glad Beast. And then you had Oscar Zelaya, who we already talked about, but he didn't play Kayas, Brain Control, Torrential, or Gores. And he probably didn't play other things, and he played other things on over those cards. And then you have me playing Future Fusion Dandelion, which it isn't new, but it's because I topped with it already at YCS Richmond last year. But that is still something that, like, when you look at most Hero Frog players' decks, they're just playing like a very generic version of the deck. So all 4 decks in top 4 were like doing spicy things, and I think that's really cool. It's very telling that in Edison format you can get away with adding some character to your deck. But like you said, your build does punish Glad Beast for not having a lot of defense. I think that you can punish them even if they do draw like 2 traps. And then we all struggle if they draw a lot of good traps. But if they draw like 2 traps, we could definitely play through it. And if they draw 1, God forbid, like he did, anything less than that is just really bad because they are not going to win with all monsters. Then that's just one of the problems with Glad Beast. If they draw a monster heavy hand, all the other decks in the format are really good against their monster heavy hands.
Yep. I do think Secutor is the best card for Glads against us, and Ready Ari is kind of mid, relatively, I will say.
Yeah, I think Secutor is insane. I've been attacked by Secutor and literally scooped to it before. Just straight off the bat, like that is game. I know it's game. We don't have to play this out. Like it's just GG no re. So in terms of your side deck, I know people are probably looking at this DD Assailant, wondering about this. And I believe the first person I saw do this was what's her name?
Karina was the first one.
There you go, Karina.
Yeah.
So
it's an amazing card. So everyone I think is wondering why not DD Warrior Lady, I imagine.
Yep. Explain.
Yeah, quite simply, the problems we've been having is you need to take out like deck dev targets against Blackwings, against Vayu, stuff like that. And when you take out Junk Synchron, you want another Rota target. And DD Assailant is an insane card in those matchups. Doesn't get hit by deck dev, great Rota target, always trades 1 for 1. I told 10-foot was very questioning of it, and then I told him it's a walking D prison, and all of a sudden he's like, oh my god, it's the best card in the game. It's just been amazing. It even is great in Frog Mirrors because you struggle to out the vanities, and it's just a searchable vanities out now. It's great.
Yeah, that you had it against me in game 3. When the game was over, I asked to see your hand, and one of the cards in your hand was DD Assailant. Now, neither one of us in any of the games ever Vanities Fiend the other person. Like, that never happened. And we both just play, like, mini Vanities Fiends, right? And we just never had to go through that Vanities Fiend mini. I call it the Vanities Fiend mini game because I feel like every Frog Mirror devolves into that at some point. But we just kind of skipped that entire mini game, and I saw the out to it was already in your hand. So I guess I'm glad that I never drew it, and instead I drew double Kaias because the DD Assailant would have caught me off guard. I wouldn't have expected that to be your set monster when I'm attacking like a madman with the Vanities Fiend. But it is good that it's not a deck devastation virus card, so they, you keep it if they deck dev you, whereas DD War Lady will die to deck dev. It also, I mean, this attack stat isn't special per se. Like 17 is an awkward number, but it does beat over, Armageddon Knight for what it's worth. Like that could be something.
Beats over Dyna is a massive one.
Yep. Anything that beats over Dyna, we go up for every card that beats over Dyna. Ocean is half of Ocean's job is literally beating Dyna sometimes. Yes. Like him being a war hero, and then the other half is like, I need you to just beat that Dyna for me. If you do nothing else the entire tournament, that's fine. If you beat one Dyna for me in a tournament, I am already happy with you, Ocean. So
amen. Yes.
What about Moment of Extermination? And what are your thoughts on Breaker? Because I noticed Breaker is absent from here.
Yeah.
And Dust Tornado's
so
absent.
this is based on having really specific siding patterns and knowing exactly what I want in each matchup. And with heavy discard traps, you definitely don't need to side in Dust because you have the removal for the Mask of Restrict, for the Oppression, stuff like that.
Yep.
So the Nobleman is better to let you be more aggressive, and then you still will find an answer to those super problematic cards later on down the line. So those worked out amazingly well. Very valuable. Love them in. With people running more Yada, it starts to get worse. But so far, it's still been great.
Do people keep in Yada, you think, against frogs?
I think it's right to for a lot of decks, especially Blackwings too.
Because they can chain like one, chain like two.
As a monarch.
Okay. That's true.
Also against LADD.
Yeah, that's okay. So if they see, if you see LADD, you definitely want to have the Chain Link 1 free card and then Chain Link 2 remove the LADD so that, you'll still draw with Yada and the LADD is gone. I can see that. I also like the speed of Nobleman of Extermination. So this is something that I started playing Nobleman of Extermination in my Dragon Turbo side deck because of just it being fast. Like I know Decree's, decent and all that. And like, you can side Dust Tornado or whatever, but I thought the speed of it being a normal spell, you draw it and you can play it immediately. And I believe I read in the Discord something about you saying if you hit, or maybe this was in your deck profile, but it was somewhere you said, like if you hit a Pulling the Rug, that's done for the rest of the game. Like you don't have to think about pulling the rug for the rest of the game now. Yeah. That's huge.
It's great. Against the Glad Beast player, I hit Bottomless. One turn later, I would have hit Chariot. And imagine facing Glads and not having to worry about Chariot again.
Yeah,
it's great.
That's actually insane. Yeah, it makes a quest a lot worse against us. Yeah, I guess
my teammate, when doing his deck profile, called it sort of like a mini dust shoot for the knowledge that it ends up giving you. And I do think there is an element to that for sure.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that. But if they only banish, one of something that they play more copies of, then it's in their hand. And that could be interesting. I lost a game. I don't know if it was a tournament game or if it was just like a DB game. I forget. But I Nobleman of Extermination someone. And I hit Deep Prison, and I think that he went through his deck and was like, I don't have any more copies, or he banished only one of it. And so I forget whatever way it happened, but I remember he Deep Prisoned me a turn or two later, and I was like, I typed in the chat on DB, I was like, question mark, question mark, question mark. And he was like, oh, I had it in my hand. So obviously after the duel concluded, I went right to the replay immediately. Then I was like, if this guy fucking cheated me, that's so crazy. So I went to the replay, and he actually had drawn 2 Deep Prisons. And so I had a Prime Material Dragon on the field, and I had a Red Eyes Darkness Metal. And I played in a way that assumed that the back row couldn't be Deep Prison, and it was. And it cooked me. I don't remember the exact scenario and everything. I just remember I had specifically a Prime Material and a Red Med. And the fact that his back row ended up being Deep Prison after I Nobleman of Extermination won the turn prior made me like, I was like, oh, that's crazy. So, but I see what you mean. It can definitely be information that tells you about their hand and also tells you about just like what's going on with their deck in general. So that is a boon to Nobleman of Extermination. Breaker and Dust Tornado. So you were saying something about Dust Tornado?
Yeah, just the Dust Tornadoes, it's a lot slower, and you don't need it if you don't need more outs to Mask of Restrict or Oppression. Breaker, on the other hand, this deck is very tight on normal summons, I find. The only deck I would really want it against is Vayu, but it's very hard for me to side more cards out against Vayu.
Yeah.
I opted to just go heavy Monarch still against them.
I can see that. I also think, so this is my first tournament playing Breaker, and I did side it against Vayu only, although I played 5 Vayu decks in the tournament, so that was also wild. I don't know what your matchups were like, but did you play against a lot of Vayu, or what was your tournament?
I think 0 Vayu, maybe 1 Vayu. Yeah. No, I played against Machina. I played against Cat. I played Frogmare. I played Diva Hero. There was like a lot of variety, a lot of other decks. I played Blackwings, Glads at the top cut.
So Konami said, fuck my bracket, because they gave me the previous YCS winner.
That is a good matchup.
No, but I mean, it could always go. I do believe that, and I've been saying it a lot.
The players you faced, for sure.
The players I faced were crazy, like literally multiple really good players, but they definitely gave me all the real decks, like what I would consider real, because at this point in Edison format, we are getting to like it's nowhere near solved, I think, but we're getting to a point where people are choosing to play for main tournaments. They're choosing to play Blackwing, Vayu, and Frogs. I think above all other decks is what I'm getting. I feel like those are the 3 most represented. I think if you looked at any of Snack's analyses lately, you're going to see that Blackwings and Vayu are probably the most represented 2 decks, and then you're going to see, I imagine, Frog variants as a whole, not just Hero Frogs, but Frog variants as a whole being 3rd, and then you it trickles down from there. Like it goes into different decks from there. But I think that those are the big 3, and so when I played at the YCS, I wasn't really complaining about, oh, this is another value player. I was like, this is just what I expect at this point where we're at in 2024. Like Edison's been around for years and years, and people, I'm not seeing as much of the diva hero like last year when a true hero was topping every tournament. People were playing that deck more often, or I'm not seeing as much zombies when zombies were still winning major tournaments last year. And, you know, I'm not seeing as much Christia Sworn and all the other decks that people could play. I just haven't been seeing those as much. So my tournament was like very like it was to me a perfect representation of 2024 Edison. It was like one Amaryllis. I played one Amaryllis player. I played 5 value, 2 Blackwing, 1 Diva Hero beat, 1 Frog Mirror, and I think that's it. I think that's my entire 1 Fairy. I played against 1
that's
Chaos
exactly
Fairy.
what I would expect for a tight meta.
Yeah. And so like hearing you say you played 0 or 1 value, I'm like, damn, that's insane. And also kind of scary because weird decks I'm more comfortable with the meta decks. Like I'm more comfortable with the big 3 than I am with like I don't want to play cat. The feeling of cat scares me every time I leave my field open, and I'm like, oh god, please don't do it. Like please don't have it right here. So it's like
cat was fine. The Diva Hero is scary. I think Blackwings is scary. I think a lot of the like faster tier 2 decks, Christia Sworn, Dragon Turbo kind of stuff, also very scary.
Yep. So I was gonna say this about Dust Tornado. The reason why I sided triple Dust is literally because of what you just said. The only matchup that I'm kind of like not a fan of is the Blackwing matchup, and it's really not because of the Blackwing cards, except Black Whirlwind. Like the only card that I actually care about in that matchup the most, because Icarus Attack, our deck does a really good job of playing around. Kalut, Absolute Zero into Kalut is like favorable for us. If they have one of their 3-ofs, we can have one of our 3-ofs, and hopefully they line up. But Absolute Zero is really good into Kalut. Shora, you can play around Shora a lot of the time, stuff like that. So most of the matchup I feel like is very even. Like it can go either way. Blackwings is definitely one of the strongest decks in the format, so they obviously, you know, it could just straight up shit on us. But the games that are non-games for me in my past are all Whirlwind games, and I just have a very bad PTSD from losing to just Whirlwind. So I decided that I was going to go into this tournament and just cut that shit off as soon as they like I literally just want to play that matchup straight up. I do not want you to Whirlwind me. And so that was my logic for siding 3 Dust Tornadoes. And I played 3 Ageki Breaks, but I don't play any extra discard traps. So I have a little bit less outs to like Whirlwind in a way. Like I know Wing Blast isn't necessarily an out, but it can also stop it for that one turn, and potentially you can Monarch it after that, after you spin their monster, or you could spin the Whirlwind itself, and then now their monster's on the field without the Whirlwind search, so hopefully they don't have a second one. But that was my thing for Dust Tornado. I just wanted to cut that 1 card off, and that's the only reason I sided 3. So
yeah, I just don't have space. That's the big thing, right?
Yeah.
I can't cut down on discard traps below 4 discard traps. I just don't have space for 3 dust.
Yep, that's fair. You also sided deck Devi, and I saw you deck Devi your frog friend at one point. I looked over and you literally were activating that card, and my heart dropped because you were my next opponent, or the winner of you and him was my next opponent. And I was like, oh my god, what build? Because remember, I don't know your build. I actually have no idea what you're playing in terms of like how your frog deck is built. I didn't really get to watch you at all this weekend. I didn't know that you even topped until literally when they said, can the top 8 players line up over here? And then like you and AJ were standing on my left and right, and I was like, wait, I didn't see these guys all day. And I was at the top tables like all day too, and I just never saw you guys. I don't know how. Like I guess I was just like so focused.
I don't know.
It was wild.
I saw you like once after I finished around super early, and that was it. Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, we didn't really have like a conversation or anything like that during the day. It was just kind of like you were just out here killing it because you finished first in Swiss. So you also didn't lose any rounds, right? You only had a draw.
I drawed with AJT. I beat everyone else. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, for people who don't know, this was your first YCS, right?
Yes, the first one I've ever gone to. I only went to one other in-person event, and that was the Raleigh 5K. Yeah, this was my first real Konami event besides like a small locals. Yeah.
That's pretty insane. Your first showing, you almost won the event undefeated.
Almost.
That is
very close.
This is why I consider you to be
the problem.
This is why I consider you to be not only one of the best players, but I also think that you're the best deck builder in Edison format. I respect a lot of the people who build decks in this format. I really do. And they come up with cool ideas and they're specialists. But what makes you a cut above all the rest is that you have done this with multiple decks now. You have gotten a win with Value Turbo, with no Solemn and Icarus Attack in it. And I know it's not like, oh, it's not the craziest thing, but it's still something that wasn't being done before you did it. Just flat out. It just wasn't. Then the Blackwing deck with 0 copies of Icarus Attack and main decking Dark Illusion. And now this fucking Frog deck with one Treeborn Frog in it and double Light and Darkness Dragon in it and like all of these other choices that you made, Hinokago Suchi and DD Assailant and all these, just there's so many things happening. And sure, some of these ideas we've seen done before in other decks, but not in this deck, not being built like this. And that's the point that I want to make, is like, sure, somebody already played Breaker before me, somebody already played DD Assailant before you, but I've never seen all of these ideas culminate into this particular deck list, and that's why I credit you with being like the best innovator and the best deck builder in the format, honestly.
Thank you. Yeah, and you were asking about deck dev. I think that one is definitely something that's less common in frogs, and I don't know many people who cite it in most frog decks, but I do think that's the kind of thing where like people look at it as not super useful, but being able to outdo block, mostly being able to dodge like brain cons, econs, removal of different forms kind of thing, hand knowledge in the mirror, having some other form of disruption against Dragon Turbo when they heavy storm you. It's like really good in those matchups, but you really only want one copy. Yeah,
I like that. I forgot about it being good against Dragon Turbo. You're absolutely right. Kills all the debris, all the white stones. They're forced to have instant fusion now.
Yep.
What I will say is I remember Diva Frogs, because Cameron Saunders used to play Diva Frogs all the time, and that deck is a deck devy frog deck because Diva goes into Catastrophe turn 1 and you could just deck devy people immediately. So I haven't thought about it at all and any other build besides Diva Frogs, but I guess your deck is not concerned about getting this off turn 1. You're just like, I want this in my deck for the opportunity to just use it at some point.
Yes. We did have it in Junk Frogs when we were working on that about a year and a half ago, and then you sort of realized that with triple Kaias, triple Vanities, it's already consistent enough as it is, plus Gores, plus Soul Exchange as other things that make it live, and it's really good in the mirror. Yeah, it was just dominating the mirror left and right.
Yeah, no, I could totally see that. I mean, I love this deck list. I actually want to try it out. I'm going to take it on ladder, but I also want to try, I'm going to do some things to it after to see like if I can tweak it more to my liking, because I want to try Future Fusion in your list.
I do think Future Fusion and Dandy would be a good addition to it. I do agree with that.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm going to fit them, but I want to try it.
Zero Treeborn.
Zero Treeborn is so unhinged. Oh god.
The one deck that we haven't talked about of mine that I did talk with is the Combo Frogs, and that's the deck that had Zero Treeborn in the main. But yeah, it's definitely unhinged for sure.
Yeah, Combo Frogs. So I often forget that you are the Combo Frog person, because that deck is toxic as hell, and there's been entire rule sets made to stop that from happening. Like literally, there's tournaments that are like your turn can't be more than 10 minutes or whatever, just so that it kind of neuters that. This is a very...
That's a strange one, yeah. I think it's for Maui here, right? Okay.
Yeah, if you only play... So your only targets are Ocean and Maui anyway, right?
Ocean and Maui. Yeah, and so you have the Rhoda if you need the Ocean access.
Mm-hmm. Would you set Econ turn 1 blind like this?
No.
Okay.
Nope. Yeah, you don't need it set.
So real quick, go ahead.
Yeah, go for it.
I was going to say, I play Infernal Prodigy for exact situations like this, where you open up with no Treeborn access, but you have conversion for Treeborn. And so, like, for example, if this Stratos dies, which is about to, Infernal Prodigy, I would like to have it. Now, granted, he's going to crash, so I don't need to really Kai's anything, but just having the option is really nice for my deck. Oh, he's not going to crash.
Beautiful. Yeah, who needs Prodigy when you can just have them not crash?
I was like, he's gonna crash. He's just like, I'm not crashing. All right, I don't even know what to do here. Like, I was so hell-bent on him doing that.
I think you just Kai's their Stratos, right?
I deprison and bottomless Stratos all the time. I literally do. So we're just going to full set. Whoa.
Skill drain. Interesting.
Okay. So if I tribute and take this, it still gets banished, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't think that's worth it.
No, I'm just saying no.
Right?
It's a weird scenario where I would have their Stratos and it would still get banished, and I'm wondering, does Kai still resolve? And I believe it would.
Kai's would resolve, yep.
Yeah. You know, some cards are like, if the card moves out that zone or whatever, it doesn't, you know. Anyway. So you're gonna deprison me too? Okay.
Nope.
So here, now that we know we're under the thumb of skill drain,
I would potentially set Econ here. I don't see Treeborn being necessary for a while at this point. And you could end up wanting it like Battle Step or something, or for like Econ take their dude and then Miracle Fusion.
You know what's so funny? This is a matchup where I would have the 3 Dust Tornadoes would be so good. Where Annulment of Extermination is awkward because of this thing. Because if you flip it, if people don't know, if you flip Annulment of Extermination here, we could put this in defense mode, right? Like that's...
I think either's fine. I think it's fine to get the Honest out here if you want, but I think it's also fine to put it in defense.
I'm gonna put it in defense.
All right.
See what he does, because he didn't have an attack. This is not a battle trap. I think this is a Gemini Spark, of course, or that is one of these two.
Potentially.
Yeah. Okay.
Beautiful.
All right, that was a good Gores to draw. Yeah, we're just gonna
swing in. Probably set the uni, I would say. To
get
a water for Miracle.
Yep. There's the Spark. Okay, so that's done. Man, Treeborn Frog would have been so good turn 1 too, because the skill drain just constantly blocking damage and stuff every turn.
Yeah, so this is a case where running 1 Treeborn over 2, you know, every once in a while it takes a little longer to find them.
How many Treeborns does your deck play though? Because it might not actually, the math is probably still in the 70% range, right?
Same as you. I'm on 1-for-1, I'm on triple Swap Frog, I'm on double dupe, which kind of gets you there.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm cutting is the 1 Treeborn.
Yeah, and I cut 1 swap. I was playing 2 swaps, so I think that our math is probably very similar, because I play Future Fusion, which is another way to see it. And in place of the 3rd swap, basically.
Yep.
Okay.
Interesting.
That is interesting, because that tributes itself to get swap, and swap could theoretically bounce. I don't really need to do any of that, though.
I mean, you could use it for just a Treeborn.
Yeah.
But I don't know that matters. I feel like you just go Miracle here and vibe with the Ab-Zero.
Let's see what he does. Now, if this is an Oppression deck, too, we're cooked. This is like both.
Gore's Turbo, then.
I wish Gore's got a token. Skill drains on the field. It's kind of...
Yeah, I know.
It's kind of... But his build, I don't even know if the build that he's on is using Miracle Fusion. Sometimes these builds don't play that card.
Yeah, with the skill drain, not necessarily.
Yeah, sometimes they just play like Barbaros and shit like that. Like just go straight on beatdown. Alright, well, we came this far.
Attack. Still honest.
Yep. We'll take it. That's actually great. So I'll take 19. Nice little 2-for-1 to make up for the Gemini Spark Econ situation.
Yep.
Okay. So we have another hero in the grave. We just need another water. So then we're just going to go main phase 2.
Yeah, I'd probably get Treeborn here.
What do you think about...
Or Dupe.
I was about to say, what do you think about Dupe Frog? Like...
Dupe is funny. I'm down with that.
Yeah, I kind of like... Because, you know, he has skill drain on the field. I don't really know what he's supposed to do to this. Like, how do you deal?
I mean, Hero Blast.
I'm fine with that.
We have the Gores.
Yeah.
So we're down.
Please Hero Blast that. Give me my Treeborn to my hand, and then I'll... Yeah, no, I mean, you're good. Yeah. But, I was about to say, what's going on here? Yeah, no, that's very interesting. Like, Dupe Frog is... Okay, is he going to go Reckless Chain Hero Blast?
No.
Also, we just got Reckless greeted by Hero Beat.
Yeah, you want to talk about that one real quick?
Yeah, like, what's happening?
I think the thing is Hero Beat just... No, I can't even come up with a good dumb reason. Hero Beat has so many cards that do the same thing, and so you don't really need to make your deck that much smaller.
Yeah. It is the most linear deck in the format that's good. Like, out of all the good decks, it's the most linear one. I'm not going to press the issue right now. I don't really want to do anything.
What did you draw?
I drew Econ.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I'm just vibing. You're good.
Yeah, he's under Reckless. This is 1 out of 2. Oh, he's like
Beautiful. This is why Maui turn 1. We knew 10 turns later we would draw the Wind Blast.
yep. Not 10 turns later.
LADD top deck? Oh, damn. All right.
That would have been crazy. Okay, so I can Wing Blast, Skill Drain, banish, summon, malicious.
I don't even think you do. Right? Like, do you need to put on pressure here? You're under no danger.
Well, here's the thing. I also know his hand is ass. And outside of Torrential, I kind of do want to start to like win right now. Like I feel like if I Wing Blast, Skill Drain and then summon Caius and just start getting in, like that could be really, really good.
You can. I definitely would play it more patient personally. I think as soon as we get Treeborn, it's impossible for him to win this game.
Yeah.
LADD.
I really want to play though. I really want to do stuff.
You can. I mean, it is fun. But I do think a lot of these, high resource game states, people tend to play from impatience instead of waiting until the right time.
So I think that just because he's been so inactive, I do think that I don't know, but I think right now is a good time. Now, if I get torrential here, then by all means, please shit on me.
All right.
But if I
Get your comments ready, pre-type them.
But if I don't get specifically torrential here, we are so back.
Which do you target? It's got to be the old one, right?
Yeah, that's what's been sitting. This is Starlight Road. This has been sitting here forever.
Yeah.
Yep. We knew that the new one.
Yeah, see, you end up getting a 2-for-1, but you don't actually put pressure on.
Why
I guess you could miracle now?
I was about to say, why don't I?
Yeah.
This is exactly what I love. And he's top decking a fucking skill drain against an absolute 0, and he already doesn't have shit.
Oh.
All right. So let's just see how bad it was. I love a good rage quit, though. You guys know on this channel, we love a good rage quit. He got cooked. That Wing Blast, I'm telling you, your deck is so broken because Wing Blast just says like, oh, you drew bad and I can tell you drew bad. Now I just win.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, double.
Yeah. Wind Blast is great for that. Oh, interesting. So the other back row, there's the Reckless. Yeah, Reckless, if it was anything real,
yeah,
he at least has a game.
A regular D prison, bro. Like literally just, I bet he's not maxing on D prison.
Yep.
Oh, he does play Miracle though.
See, that E-Call feels like it should be for Ocean to have a water.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on here, but I guess he's so honed in on this double honest and he's like, you know what, this how is he ever going to deal with this alias if I have double honest? And he's, you know, Miracle Fusion is the best card. So Miracle Fusion is so good. Brain Control. What? Oh,
yeah, this is why a lot of people don't run BrainCon in Hero Beat.
Yep. So he's bricked
So he had an out to our board.
He had
BrainCon Miracle banish our Ab-Zero.
I don't think he saw that. Yeah, I genuinely don't think he even saw it. Because he could have done that for sure.
He's still not in a good position, but it at least, like,
you
know.
It does, yeah. It is something that he could have done. So, yeah, he passed because of Reckless. That looked really weird on the replay just now. Like I drew 2 cards. But he passed on the Reckless. I drew for turn. This is where I was debating if I should keep him, basically skip a third draw phase. And he realized exactly what I was doing because he rage quit as soon as I did this. So I'm like, Caius you, because I'm not doing this for no reason.
Yeah, and we've seen all the back row. This is all he had in hand when he scooped.
Yeah, he just absolutely didn't want to play anymore, and I understand. He's, you know, I'd be a little mad too if my deck just shit the bed that bad, and you're probably going to be on a video. Okay, let me try one more.
Yeah, let's see if we can get to the side decking at least. Get a little look at that.
Yeah.
That's another matchup DD Assailant is great in, right? Banishing another alias or something so that their miracles end up dead is great.
Yeah. I like this guy's name. Face down Yu-Gi-Oh. I guess he wants to play goats. Oh my god, I'm just I'm so good. Just win every die roll.
That's the most important skill.
It is. It really is, though. I guess we're just never opening Treeborn Access. That's cool.
That's fine. We don't need it.
Okay.
Oh, we found it. I would hold the 1-for-1 for later. One thing you can do is go normal dupe, set a discard trap, add Treeborn to hand, and then, Wind Blast pitch the Treeborn. Brown-Ox done that before.
Do you want to do that for the content? Because that sounds like a content play.
It does sound like a content play. I'm down.
All
that
right.
sounds funny. Because if they don't deal with the dupe, right, then they're just letting you lock them, which most decks don't want.
Yeah, this is I've never done this myself. Like, this is a new play for me, so I want to see how this goes, and it's content. So, and if I get summoned like MST summon Shura, then I'm sick. What the fuck?
Goes for special graph for insta. Priority's fine here, of course.
Yeah.
Effect. Is this like turn 1 dad play?
I mean, that's what it looks like.
Do you? No, you don't Raigeki break instantly.
Oh, it's this.
Okay. So we have options here. You can either Raigeki break it and stop it, or you can just let it go through and use Dupe Frog effect.
Okay. All right. So he banished for not cost, but he banished. So you're saying we could either Raigeki break it now and not get set back to the Stone Ages, or we can. Does this get its effect? Sent from the field
it does. So Norlaris says then, but it's actually simultaneous.
Okay. So we can get our Treeborn Frog, and then he gets a draw, and he has Plague Spreader Zombie, or we can just like. I want to bypass this. I don't want to do this. I don't like this.
Sure. I would pitch LADD personally.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to do this. I don't like it. Yeah, I'm like, I just don't want to fucking top deck with this shit. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
think it's still the Treeborn because of 1-for-1.
Yeah, and we have Wing Blast on top of that. So I take 16, right? Yeah. All right, all's good.
Yep.
All's well. So we can go. I really don't want to have to pitch my. I wouldn't want to have to pitch my Ryza. I'll say that.
How do you feel about set sub, set Wind Blast?
I was just going to set
another
Wing Blast by
content
itself.
play. That's true.
Because he plays Caius, so I'm kind of like, I just want to set Wing Blast.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. Yeah, that's less content, but better, for sure.
Definitely less content. Set substitute. Summon Dupe Frog and set substitute would be so crazy. This guy would be like, he's trolling. He's fucking trolling. He watched people like he was trolling.
I mean, he just goes for the attack, and then we're like, okay, we saved 17,
Yeah, for sure. He's gonna try to beat my fucking face in right now.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You have Ryza.
And Wing Blast. Damn, Daniel.
If he goes for a Synchro 8, do we let him?
I will make that decision when we get there so we can talk about it once I see all the pieces. But I'm already thinking that that's where this is going because he's going to send a second value. He's going to go make Arm Wing, stack, and then we might have to...
Plague.
Yeah, we might have to decide right there, like what to do.
I think we hit the Armed Wing.
I think it cuts off.
it.
It cuts off everything.
Yeah. And then if he goes for a Synchro 6, it's easier for a Ryza to answer.
I think we just win right here, like barring a disaster.
4 darks. Yeah.
Okay, so he didn't go.
We still just do it on the Armed Wing.
Yeah, we just Wing Blast the Arm Wing. You're saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gone forever. Gone but not forgotten.
I'll forget about it.
Huh?
I'll forget about that armed wing.
Oh. Okay, MST, not the best. He has a blatant plague spreader zombie.
All right, so here's the. I mean, we could just go for the Ryza the Greffer, and
Yep.
then after attacking, bounce Swap Frog.
Right, that's not bad. We're at
We could go
33.
for Soft Lock instead. I think I would bounce Ryza, personally.
Yeah, I kind of like that play. Like, just tribute for Ryza, spend the Greffer, attack over the Arm Meganite. But you also want to go... What do you mean bounce? How are we bouncing? We're going to go 1-for-1 pitch off.
You go 1-for-1, yeah, into a Swap Frog.
Let me see. Let me think. So we're going to spin you, just in case you don't have another Dark Monster, although I really do think he does.
I'd still rather make him pitch.
Yep. So here we have choices. We can go 1-for-1 now. I think we're going to play 1-for-1 no matter what, so I probably should just play it anyway.
Yeah.
Because like we're going to use it. And then we can just decide like what we're going to do with the substitute once it's on the field. All
Nice.
right.
That's a good way.
All right. I'm going to try this one more time. And then if nobody wants to play with me, that's fine. I'll take my ball and I will go home. But
Yeah.
every time we get to a point where they get like locked by your spinning deck, they don't like your shit spinning people. Like I'm noticing your deck makes people rage quit.
Yeah, that's a sign that it's powerful.
It
For
is.
sure.
I don't think people like playing their cards over and over again. They don't like drawing them over again. It's interesting.
Yeah. All right, round 3.
Yep. Round 3. We still haven't side deck yet. All right.
Yeah,
I
last
finally
one,
lost the die roll.
Last one's a matchup that they usually bring in Mask of Restrict and sometimes bring in like Soul Release, and so that's an interesting one to side for.
I'm going to say exactly what he said back. I don't know what HL means, but I'm going to say exactly what he said to me. So just in case he says something ignorant, you too.
Have luck, good luck.
Sure. I don't know what HL means, but whatever it means, right back to you. Soul Exchange, please. Do you play Soul Exchange?
Not in the main. Econ's in the main, Solex in the side.
Oh, all right.
So this
nice.
is, yeah. Swap, send, Treeborn, bounce. You can set the Wind Blast too. Depends on how much you read a Raikou.
I'm definitely not attacking. I just don't believe in doing that. Okay, so... Gosh. I'm just going to turn my head and hope to God that's not something weird like Spirit Reaper or some shit like that. Like, just don't be weird. Don't be Glad Beast for some reason that didn't draw traps turn 1. Like, just don't be anything weird. Just be Raikou.
It's
You're
right.
supposed to
If
just
it
be
is
Raikou.
Reaper, if it is Reaper, it will hit the Maui, and you're fine.
Oh, well, that would be... Oh, my God. Thank you, deck.
Wow.
I mean, we didn't come this far just to come this far.
I mean, yeah, you definitely Caius one. I think you Caius the first one, right?
I think so,
that's
too.
more likely to be like a Raikou.
I think it's... Yeah, not only that, I think it's also likely to be Hamster.
Yeah, I feel like you flip up Hamster on an open board, though.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, it's this.
Do you attack the other one?
I'm scared. I'm so scared now.
I don't think there's anything you can hit that it's positive. So I think you don't attack and you just set Wind Blast.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Next turn we can do massive dupe lock plus bounce with Caius or something.
Yeah. Also would like him to play the game a little bit. Our hand is very good if he plays the game.
Yeah.
It's all crackback stuff. Oh my God. Do you want to Wing Blast on end phase? His back row?
The back row. 100%. Yeah.
Oh, well. Now
Now it's more questionable. I still think I would.
All right.
Just in case top deck does shoot or something.
Mm-hmm. He's got this one first. Okay. I was about to say, all right. Oh.
I would go for substitute play. We have tons of conversions for the LADD.
Yep.
So I would just go like sub dupe probably after, or uni dupe after bouncing Kai's to hand.
Okay. You only play one Treeborn, so all right. So I'm going to thin the deck out of substitutes first. Standard.
I would bounce with Cryo personally,
Okay.
but
Yep.
you could thin. Just depends on how much you fear like TT.
No, I don't fear it that much, but I still think that
Then
this is correct. This is just correct. Because this is more important to winning than thinning the deck out by substitutes. All right.
Yeah.
So then we will do this. Okay, so we're gonna go Dupe Frog, Unifrog. Is that the play?
I would go dupe uni by using the Malian Grave.
Oh, okay. All right. So let me do one Dupe Frog right now, and then finish. Just make it awkward for him.
Yeah.
He's just like watching me play by myself.
Yeah, and I would not use Prio here, but I don't know if that matters to clarify.
Yeah, I'm not gonna clarify it. I'm not. No prio. I hope he's not about to ask that. No prio. If that's. Oh. Well, yes.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, he just wanted to say how ignorant it is that frogs are playable like this in this format, and I agree. I think that people are slowly realizing that this is actually like top 2 decks in the format.
Yep.
All right, so we're here, and we're just doing the most. This deck is so broken, it's sad.
Yeah, it is. Dude, and the LADD goes so hard.
Yeah, like if he plays the game at any point, he gets econ, take your guy, LADD it at any point. And if he plays the game at any, like there's just so, I love when this happens. Oh, I love when this happens.
I'd rather just eat it for free, and then, you know, he's got the next back row in hand that you can eat next turn. But, you know, it's fine.
That. Yeah. I love when they mirror force it though, because that just means it's coming back later.
This is just a pass.
Yeah, Deep Prison is like, oh, I'm a little sad. Mirror Force is like, I'm really happy he did that.
The other thing you can do is when they finally out your LADD, you bring back Unifrog, and then they're like, oh no. Oh no.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Oh. Oh. Okay, well. Huh. All right. Yep, this is... I'm about to get super rejuved? Oh.
I'm sorry, what was that card? Run that back?
Bruh.
Okay.
So that we get both effects.
We do.
Add back Uni, add back swap, I think.
Yeah, no question. It's just funny. Also, meme drawing that substitute. That is so fucking meme-ish.
Econ take.
Oh god, he's gonna scoop, isn't he? He's just gonna quit. Okay, good.
Dark Bribe. Alright, draw. Summon that shit back. Brain con? You could hold the brain. It's funnier to use, though.
No, I think it's so funny because like he gave me a card to not take his blue eyes and I took it anyway.
Do we have lethal?
Oh, he's at 8,000.
We can do 24 from frogs. No, I don't see lethal.
Yeah, I don't see lethal without a Miracle Fusion. From 8,000, no. But
Junk Synchron would be lethal.
yeah, Junk Synchron, Rhoda, yep. Okay, so we do have so many
I'm just
cards.
going attack main phase 2 LADD.
I was thinking if I want to put him at 4,000, so I was kind of just thinking about just pitching a card to be ignorant.
I don't think so, because then you have to shrink your LADD to bounce the swap. Right? I guess you could bounce the swap first, but
Yeah, because I'm hitting him for 4,000 and then like, you know what I mean. But I don't need to do like I don't need to hit him for 4,000. It's just kind of like I wanted them at half life just cause. But I don't have to do that. Also, just if you saw me play in person, I just wouldn't do that either. But I'm doing a lot right now for the viewership. Like summoning Dupe Frog, I still have not. Especially if I don't know what they're playing. If I know you're not playing Black Wings and you can't really punish that, I'm more inclined to do it. Yeah, this is just.
Yeah.
Now I'm playing dragons.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting build.
Yep. Since he loves his mass dragons and troop dragons apparently so much, I figure why not take them from him? So I don't know how to side with your deck.
Yeah, so you usually side out 2 discard traps for the karmas, depending on what you like less. I usually side out econs for soul exchanges, but I could see keeping an econ in here because it's so good against their massive beaters.
Yeah. We'll keep it
I side out 1 to 2 frogs. I think soft lock is fine against dragons, so I could see siding out a dupe.
Yep.
Uni's nuts, so I'm keeping that in.
Do we want to put in our second Treeborn Frog?
Yeah. I would put it in. You could take out Ryza potentially as well.
Yeah, Ryza's
another
not good
one that can
against.
come up when you-
It's not good against Mash Dragon. Like you spin it back, they just reset it, and then you're just in the same exact position as last turn, which I'm not.
Also, if I'm putting in deck dev, hold up. I would put in Vanities over the other Ryza, just to have another target for it.
That makes sense. Yep. Yes, we have 3 Kaias, Vanities, Gores, Junk Synchron, Rhoda, technically. Yeah, we have a good amount. Also, if we just
LADD, you can deck dev LADD.
Oh, he is a dark monster. That is brutal. Imagine they play a card to drop him down to like 2300, and then you're just like, you know what? Fuck your couch.
I did that against Chainbird. They had Battle Fader in their hand when I attacked, so they put him down to 23, and I'm like, all right, well, I can get rid of that and know all your cards.
Yeah. He doesn't go down for cost either. He goes down as part of the resolution.
Correct. So you can let him go down to 23, and then the next time he activates, you can chain deck dev to that.
I like this. I like this a lot.
Rhoda's probably going for the junk here to have the deck dev be live eventually.
Yep.
Okay. Very straightforward.
Yep. The only other target left in deck is now the Ocean.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's fine to thin that.
Yeah.
I usually like conserving info, but I think it's fine. Other builds might go for the Summon Stratos special swap turn 1 here, but I do think when you have either discard fodder or instant miracle with your Stratos, you really want to be saving it until you know what you want.
That's totally fair. I'll be honest, I did check out just a little bit once he saw what he was playing. Just a little bit. Like when our opponent tributed for Blue Eyes, I was like, all right, well, let me just check his rating. That's why I hovered over here, and I was like, all right, well, like really nice guy, you know, letting us play and everything. Whereas the other 2 people did not. But I'm just kind of like, all right, look, what are we doing here? So that's a lot more background than he had turn 1, and I
would go through all the frogs and just go either soft lock or dupe uni here.
Let's see if he's okay with this. That's a lot of background and I have a response, so I just want to make sure.
Yeah, I'd probably go soft lock pass.
Yeah.
Dragons just don't have answers to soft lock.
It's unfortunate for them. Some of them play like the Hamstruck of Kai's engine, but
The Fitz build, yeah.
Yeah, this build does not though. Like he's playing Mass Dragon, which is like a completely different deck at that point.
Yeah, and then it's just pass here. We're vibing.
Substitute and vibe. Yep.
So another thing I do is whenever I have junk synchron, I'm looking at do I have lethal? Because half the time at least you do.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh.
Now, I'll say this, guys, if you're watching this, this happens in real life a lot too. It's not just an online thing. There are plenty of people who in the heat of a game, I'll soft lock them and they'll start trying to swing on anything else but Dupe Frog, and I'm just like, you have to attack Dupe Frog. And then they'll go, oh crap. Then they'll attack Dupe Frog and I'm like, it can't die in battle. And then they're like, oh crap. So
yeah, I don't get it much anymore. I get the like,
it's rare.
I have Dupe Frog plus Uni or something. They try and hit Uni, or the I have Dupe Frog. They have Substitute and they try and kill the dupe or something like that.
All right. I hope that I'm speaking English here because
I'm so glad we didn't have to explain the Norlaris ruling. So that one always gets people.
I thought he was going to argue us down when he started typing when I said like after it resolves.
I'm getting confused.
I am just saying the same thing over and over, hoping that at some point it will stick. I don't think it is, but I'm just going to keep saying it.
I think he thinks Substitute cannot be destroyed by battle, and he's trying to do the damage or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But I just, yeah. Okay. So that was a treat.
Yeah.
What you got?
You can also do junk, bring back, swap, bounce for just an extra +1.
That's exactly what I'm going to do as soon as I see where this is going. All right. That's exactly where I expected it to go. Jesus, we're going to have so many cards, and it's good because we have Raigeki Break.
Yeah, and then I'm setting Raigeki Break and the deck dev.
This just feels mean.
This deck often feels mean. I try and make my deck feel mean.
Yeah, this is a mean deck.
I mean, yeah, the goal is to make your deck as unfair as possible.
Correct.
A lot of the time.
Book of Hoban 101. All right, I'm gonna.
Yeah. Just hit a random back row.
I like this one that he just set.
Sure.
I just don't want to.
And I would go Kataster now.
And attack, yeah. I just don't want him to see the. I don't want to see the deck that be coming, so I don't want to hit one of these and it be like a card that might touch this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, can't chain that.
All right, so this guy doesn't fundamentally know how Yu-Gi-Oh works.
Everyone's new at some point. Lots of rules.
Yeah, it's fine. He's just lacking some fundamentals. That's all. Nothing that reading can't help. No, let me not say it like that. I was gonna say, notice I haven't drawn yet. I have not drawn for my turn yet, so it is still your end phase.
Yeah. Clicking end turn means you pass priority in the end phase, and your opponent has to pass priority back for the turn to end.
Yeah, you can't just force a draw phase on me.
It is one thing to not know the rules, but it is a lot more annoying when people think they know the rules and are wrong.
So that is what gets me.
The harder one to stick with.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind him like saying like whatever, but then the fact that he's trying to tell me that I'm doing something wrong is like, that's where I start to get annoyed, because it's like, okay, you are very clearly new to this, and I am not. without saying it any other way. Okay, all right, cool. At least he eventually concedes the argument, because that was a lot. All right, I need this video to be over, so we are going to just go right on into it, because
yeah, I mean, Kataster's the best option. Black Rose is something you can go for if you want to try and end things fast, but then get Starlight Roaded.
Yeah, I'm not, because our hand is like low-key weird. Like, we don't have any monarchs or anything. So I'm just going to summon this Kataster, and I'm going to try to swing and see if he wants to do something to the Kataster. Oh, okay. Well, that also... And if he wants to Starlight Road this is also fine.
Oh, that's true. I don't think most people would notice that you could Starlight Road this.
I would be surprised if he knows it.
Yeah, you have to have 2 monsters face up with 1500 or less attack to be able to do that. It does not come up much.
I've never seen it before, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've never seen that happen to this card.
I've seen my body happen to it for sure. I don't think I've seen Starlight.
Okay. Yep, I see his hand. Call and Dasher. So these two die. Okay, yep. Yep. Okay. Yep, this guy too. Okay, yep. Alright, call. What is happening right now?
Bruh.
Oh my god. Alright, I'm gonna do
Figuring
this.
out how chains work still.
I'm just doing this.
Yeah, in tournament, you've already gone to resolution by showing your hand or by sending them to grave, and so you wouldn't be able to Starlight Road. But casually, you let them go back here for
really
sure.
need to borrow a James Arc account that has been farmed to like the top 10 because and he plays the alt art. Nice. That is so. Yep.
Torture.
All right. Well, I normal summon this turn.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just pass here. You could bounce swap set Raigeki break if you wanted, but
Yeah.
I would save the Raigeki break. Yeah.
Please don't show me your hand when you draw. That would be so unhinged. If he shows me his fucking draw, I will just.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
That would be so unhinged.
So that's call.
Yeah. Yes. He didn't shuffle his hand, did he? Oh no! Is he going to go to another battle phase?
Oh no. Does his deck have any outs to dupe block?
I don't think it does. Oh my god, I'm in hell. I'm in hell. Oh my god, I'm in
hell. Is there
hell.
any way that we can deck him out?
No, because we have 23 cards left.
Yeah, there's no way to mill him or make
We
him
need him to
search
draw
or
Future
anything.
Fusion to start. That's the beginning. We need him to draw Future Fusion to thin his deck by 5. Then we need him to I need to attack all the Mash Dragons, and he keeps bringing them out.
Yeah.
All right. I think Stratos get Malicious is really good here.
Bounce Treeborn to hand first, I think. Or, no, that's fine. Yeah.
Then we have conversion for the econ, take, and all that stuff. Actually, okay, yeah, Dasher. Interesting. Dasher is also a consideration because it can do stuff.
Yeah, I'm just setting the Raigeki break and passing.
Oh, do you? I don't even think we need to set it.
I mean, I would just set it to. Oh, I guess because of the Stardust, maybe not. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even want to put it there. If he somehow breaks this turn, I'll be very surprised.
Could have also bounced Stratos to get the Ocean next turn.
That's definitely a thing that could have been done.
Ooh. I'm holding that, I think.
I'm taking the
I
Stardust
guess you
and
could
playing
take
it.
the Stardust. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Tribute set Mally.
Yep. Or negate his second Starlight Road with his Stardust, because that's probably where this is going.
Yep. Yep.
Oh boy. God, I'm not going to have to explain that Stardust negate Starlight Road. I'm just scared of all the ruling questions I might have to deal with.
He's going to send them all to the grave and then activate Starlight Road.
Okay, alright. All is well. Okay. Alright. Hi, it's been a day.
Bounce and normal Stratos. Yeah, this has been a session for sure.
Yeah, this is one of the brutal ones today. I hope that the
Maybe we
viewers
should have
are...
gone for a match against each other instead.
Yeah, that might have been a lot better than what, this, but, we're here now. So, I guess
I'm hitting over both.
Yeah, fuck it. We're passing
It's
him back to
400
Stardust.
That's big.
Come on. Let me beat this. Let me beat you. He's gonna draw red man and summon that shit off the top of his deck.
And it does nothing.
Yeah, I don't think he can ever out this. Like, I think if he picked up his 29.
Set Raigeki break.
Yep. I think if he picked up his 29, like, this is never getting out it.
Yeah.
Why do you hate me? What did I do to you? Why do you hate me? I thought I've been good to you.
He says with Duplock on the field.
Oh god. And now he's thinking for fucking 3 minutes about what to summon off of a Mash Dragon. I look like the only target.
I would just go main 2 and tribute set now. Like, don't even wait.
I can't because I summon Stratos.
Oh.
Yeah.
You did. That's right.
Mm-hmm. What?
Okay,
you
that's
fine.
that?
All right, that's cool. That's, you know, that's a thing that you can do. That's like a thing that can be done. You can definitely get a Debris Dragon in defense mode. Let him cook. You can I just get a Monarch?
He's gonna try and synchro. Oh, okay, good.
Thank
you can. Tribute Stratos,
yeah,
right?
100%. Yeah, 100%. This is where the game goes south.
Yeah. I would attack Debris just in case of the random Honest.
Oh. All right. Let's wrap this shit up. Yep.
As soon as you're ahead on cards and life points in Frogs, it's over.
Yeah, that's actually true. Once both of those criteria are met, it's very hard to lose from there.
I'm specialing swap for extra damage here.
I'm doing it. I'm doing everything. I wanted to do this earlier in the other game.
Yeah, you could have broken Duplock to be able to get another summon swap frog, but it's not quite lethal, so not worth it.
All right, he's at 4,400. I see what you're saying. Send with this, on this, and then, yeah.
Yeah. There was some merit to it because it lets you, like, Caius Burn for lethal, but
it also
this
puts
is
him at
fine.
800 where you can't brain control.
Yep.
Oh. Okay, I was like, is that playable?
Ah.
Okay, I'm going to say GG's out of courtesy.
Yeah. It was an interesting deck, at least. You know?
Yeah. Yep. That it was. All right. Well, before we get out of here, thank you so much for stopping by the channel, Dimitri. Yeah, this was really fun. And despite our dueling book part, I think that the conversation we had for like an hour before we started going into that session was really awesome. And I hope that a lot of people got things out of that. In terms of how the deck performs against meta decks, you guys will just have to take it on the ladder yourself because you will not get that here apparently today. So There's that. But do you want to give any shout outs to anything before you go?
Yeah, shout out to Trevor and apropos, or Jordan Blankenship as he goes by. Those were the two that really helped put this deck together and had the like scaffolding that I started from. Shout out to Raunak too for all of his frog deck building stuff and all of the replays that I've watched of his to get better at frogs. Yeah, those have been amazing helps. For sure.
All right. Well, with that being said, guys, I hope you did enjoy this video. Again, thank you so much, Dimitri, for just doing this with me. This was awesome. Congrats on your top as well. Congrats on winning a giant size Judgment Dragon. Do you still have it?
Congrats on your win.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, I told it. Yeah.
Okay, good. You did the right thing. I think that selling the medium size, whatever size, the large size one is the right thing to do. Unless you love that card. Unless it's just the absolute favorite card of yours, but yeah. Anyways, we'll catch you in the next one, guys. Peace.
See ya.